For joining us. My name is Sophia Howie, the Adult Services Associate at the Enoch Pratt Library. Thank you for joining us for our first Pratt Test Kitchen community feature with Rodette Jones of the Filbert Street Garden, hosted by Northwood Branch Manager Kinshasa Vargas Pyle. All Pratt Library locations across the city are open at 50% capacity, so we hope to see you if you haven't been back with us already. When you do visit, please join our Summer Break Baltimore summer program. You'll get a summer break box filled with prizes and books just for signing up. The program will also include virtual and outdoor programs as well as weekly prize drawings for participants. You can find out more on our website, prattlibrary.org. Rodette Jones is a resident of Curtis Bay and the Filbert Street Garden Manager. She has worn several hats in the community, which include Community Engagement Coordinator, Community Leader, Library Volunteer, and board member on several boards in the South Baltimore community. The joy of working with the residents, from children to adults, giving them the opportunity to experience farm life through engaging with animals and learning to plant vegetables to sustain a healthy diet in a high priority food area in South Baltimore. She loves the farm life and teaching children how to make eating vegetables fun from farm to table. I'm going to stop talking because without further ado, please welcome our two guests.
All right. Well, hello everybody. My name is Kinshasa Vargas Pyle, affectionately known as Mrs. K, and I'm going to introduce you my friend Rodette Jones, and we are live at the Filbert Street Garden, and I wish you guys could see the beauty that is around us today. I mean, it's phenomenal, right? I used to be the manager at the Brooklyn branch, and so I got to know this community. I was here for about 3.5 years, and got to know Miss Rodette because she became a volunteer while I was there, and also she's also part of the Friends of the Enoch Pratt Free Library. One of the ways of how I got to know Miss Rodette is because she used to read stories at the Curtis Bay, was it at the Judy Center? Was it? Or the pre-K? It was like the pre-K at Curtis Bay Elementary. And each week she would have a new theme, and it would be about seeds and fruit and animals. And so I would have to pick out books for her, and she'd say, all right, this is my theme this week. And I would go and I would look and run around, and we would try to figure out what was the closest to that theme. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be able to have Enoch Pratt Library and Filbert Street Garden today. And I'm excited that everybody came to see us, to visit our farm and visit our animals. And I'm just ecstatic.
Well, the first thing of how I want to get started is kind of like, okay, so could you say what your address is within the Curtis Bay so that everybody knows where you're actually located?
So the Filbert Street Garden is located at 1317 Filbert Street. Baltimore, Maryland 21226 is located in Curtis Bay. It's the southernmost tip of Baltimore City.
Thank you. And tell me something. I mean, and how long have you been a resident in Curtis Bay?
So I've been a resident for 20 years in Curtis Bay.
And so I know that the Filbert Street Garden has kind of been your baby. And I believe the garden's been here, is it 10 years?
Yes,
roughly, right?
Roughly 10 years.
The last time it's been about, because I've been here
Oh, it's
10 years.
11.
Here a year before I was.
Okay.
So it's 11 years.
So off the side
Yeah.
is Miss Edie, one of our master gardeners. So I want to know, how were you introduced to community gardening?
So actually it has been, well, I did it as a therapeutic hobby. I had a very stressful job. I used to work for the Baltimore City Police Department as a dispatcher, and my outlet was going to my garden and caring for my little plot that I had. And so from there, I just look forward to getting my hands in the soil and cultivating the land and seeing what produce would come up that each season. So that's what I look forward to. And it just like, from there, I was like, I wanted my thirst for more and more knowledge of how I can bring different workshops and stuff to the community and introduce gardening to the community. So that was like kind of how I like jumped into gardening.
Okay. And when did you become associated with like the Filbert Street Garden?
So when I came, well, Jason, who was our garden manager at the time, let me come in and well, I was like his assistant, and I started doing different programs for him, like little events for the garden, like Easter egg hunts and Halloween events, and it was just like and even garden workshops and compost workshops also. We started like that, and we just elevated from there. So it just kind of like exploded, and a lot of people thought of it as a safe haven to bring their kids to dig in the soil.
Okay. Well, when it comes to Curtis Bay, would you, I mean, how would you describe Curtis Bay as being a resident here?
So being a resident in Curtis Bay, we have a lot of unity in the community. And with unity in the community, we can get a lot of things done. People look at Filbert Street Garden as a place they can bring their kids, as a place they can come to relax, they can feed the goats, and they can attend different events that we have here. So I'm looking at Curtis Bay as a place that, especially Filbert Street Garden, as a place of safe haven where you don't have to worry about the busyness of everyday living. So it's just exciting to come and just to relax. It's like a park or oasis, I could say.
So what are some of the programs that you've had here? I mean, one of the things that I know is about the Easter egg hunt, because our librarians have always come and done a story time for you guys. But what are some of the other organizations you've either partnered with, or other activities that you've done here? I know you guys have had a movie night, I thought, here before, right?
Yes, we had a movie night here. We had a voters party here, where the voters came and they ate hot dogs and hamburgers before they went down to the bottom of the hill to the Curtis Bay Rec Center, which is a election poll center to vote. We had a yoga at the garden, whereas people came out and we had yoga with the goats. So that was exciting. That was like 2 years ago. We also had a haunted event where kids came up and they dressed in their costumes. They had a Halloween costume contest, and that was very exciting. We have partnered with the Baltimore Museum of Art. They have art in the garden with a young lady named Katie when they had art in the garden. So the kids would leave the Curtis Bay Elementary School, they would come stop here, and they connect with nature by drawing pictures and doing other little activities in the garden before they go home. So it was like really exciting for the kids to do things. We also have Baltimore Compost Collective. They're here doing the compost for the South Baltimore neighborhood. And the beehives, we are the largest bee site in Maryland. We have 23 beehives, and we partner with Hunt's Honey, who we also host. And it's like very exciting because they have entrepreneurship, whereas they make facial scrubs and lip balms and sell honey also, and they help the ladies in the community in a workforce development program. So it's like very exciting that we can host their hives here, and the ladies can come up and actually do hands-on workforce development, to get them to, I guess, be more confident with what they're doing. So it's like very exciting. But then we also have a bee club with my assistant manager, Charles DeBarber. So if you're interested in bees, give Charles DeBarber a shout out. He'll be glad to come and show you how to maintain beehives and how to harvest honey. So it's very exciting.
in the Filbert Street, and they have a Facebook page where you can also find like all these activities, right?
Right.
So Charles the Barber, I mean, just is like the bee whisperer, like just amazing. I was really blessed to have my child come over here, and Charles allowed Caden to put like the full beekeeper outfit on and like go in, and Caden is still talking about this to this day. The other thing I want to highlight is, I mean, you have some partnerships, like so within your garden. Can you talk a little bit about the project that you have, Micah?
Okay, yeah, so the Micah project with Kenyon Miles, and actually we had grew indigo for her project last year. So indigo is a dye in which they take, and actually we was in the first part of it, so we actually grew the indigo plants. So the plants was transported to Hidden Harvest, well, her indigo site, which is on Calvert Street, and she actually invited us up to a workshop where they took and they dried out the indigo, and after they dried out the indigo, they put it in buckets and they weighed it down with rocks so that the dye could come up from the leaves. And once the dye come up from the leaves, then they separate it, and then they kind of like make a paste. And actually the dye is bluish dye that comes from the indigo plant. So that was really interesting. And this year we are growing herbs. So we are growing licorice, marshmallow, weld, and madder for them this year. We got a little slow start, but we're growing that. So this is our first year for herbs, so it's exciting. So we're doing that. And the other little partnerships we have is with the Curtis Bay Recreation Center. Like an hour ago, they just left here. So actually they came up the kids camp and they connected with nature. Actually they had a tour of the garden, and then they came back in the spaces where we're sitting and they connected with nature. So I just wanted them to know what resonated with them in the gardens. So what connected with them with nature, whether it be a sunflower or a chicken or a duck or a rooster or a billy goat or a sheep or whatever it was, that they used their creative juices and they illustrated on a sketch. So they did that. And then they went back down to the rec center. So we're excited for them to be coming every Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30. So that was exciting for them. And then a lot of the kids here, I must say, in this neighborhood, because we are a high food priority area and it's a low income area, they don't have the resources to go all the way to the Baltimore Zoo and pay the $15 for the adult to get in and the $11 per child to get in. Right here at Filbert Street, they can experience farm life without leaving the neighborhood, and it's free. And they can come and they can feed the animals and have the experience of farm life right here in their neighborhood, in their backyard, as they say. So,
could you tell us, as far as the animals, what kind of animals or how many animals do you actually have in this space?
So what kind of animals we have? So we have ducks, we have chickens, we have turkeys, we have goats, billy goats, and we have sheep in this area. And then we also have the bees in the corner. So we have a lot of animals. Then we actually have a turtle that's in the pond. So yeah.
How large is this area?
So it's a 1 acre space.
It's a 1 acre space. And
yes.
You guys have literally utilized almost like this every inch and made it like a little habitat for different animals in here. What would you say is the thing that you're the most proud of in this space?
I think the connection with nature with the children is my most treasured asset to my heart. So I love the kids coming up, and I love the kids connected with nature. But you know, even older adults can come and connect with nature. They love the goats, so they love the goats. And the other thing is, I like the cooking demonstrations. So my friend Crystal Foreman, who is a holistic chef,
She's also part of the Pratt test kitchen.
Okay, so she comes here and she does cooking demonstrations. So actually, the food that we grow right here at Filbert Street, we get a chance to let the kids taste it, which is very important. So it's like a farm to table type aspect. So our last cooking demonstration, we had made some cow and we made chard, and when you say cow and chard, people turn their nose up. But Miss Foreman had whipped up that cow and chard so that everybody, I did not see not one person throw their little sample of chard or cow away. So I was like very excited, that she had fixed it and she had showed the kids what you can do with actually produce in the garden to make recipes.
Okay. No, you're good. We actually have a question from the audience, so we're gonna.
Yes, Betty from Facebook would like to know, are you open to the public? What are your hours?
So yes, we are open to the public. So our hours are Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 4 to 8, and Saturdays and Sundays from 11 to 3, and it's free.
Any other questions? Are we good? Okay. One of the things that I have personally seen is that working in the community is, to me, Coast Bay, you're right, is like full of unity and connection, and yet it is has a low unemployment rate. There are some other things. Food sovereignty is an issue here. There are all these kind of different, issues, the elements of living in city life in Baltimore City. However, when I come to Filbert Street Garden, I see hope. I see transformation. I've had, I know that you've worked kind of like youth works. I know Mike Dorsey has had teens here, correct?
Right.
What was that?
Okay, so we partnered with Mike Dorsey with his workforce development program called Brooklyn Builders, and actually those young adults, they come and they are running our little tour program on Wednesday through Sunday. They work from 4 to 8, so they come and they offer tours to the neighborhood, which is really good, and they do little chores in the garden, anyway from feeding the animals to taking care of their habitat, to planting flowers, harvesting, and actually fixing things. So they are really crafty at doing a whole lot of skills. Doing the soft skills to get them ready for actually going into the workforce field.
Right, and they're roughly between like 13 and 18, or do you know what the age is?
So I'm roughly saying there are from 16 to like 21 years old.
Okay, 16 to 21.
And Mike Dorsey's program is located in Brooklyn, right on Tapsco Avenue. They call it the Old Pigeon store. I believe it has a blue painting on the front of it now. But yeah.
The other thing I want to make sure our audience knows today, that you have volunteer days here that people in the community can come out and assist, because this is a large responsibility, and the majority, and even though the community, people have their own plots, and I want to get into that, because within the actual garden part, which I'm hoping we'll get to see a little bit of, do people purchase a plot? How does that work? And what are their responsibilities if they get a plot in this community garden?
So we do have a community garden, and people purchase plots, and the range of the plots are from $20 to $45.
Is that per month?
That's for the season.
For the season.
And the water is included, And actually, they get a list of rules at the beginning of the season of what is expected of them as a gardener. And number one is we are an organic garden. We do not use any pesticides or herbicides in our garden, and they are expected to work 4 out of the 7 work days, along with a list of the anticipated work days throughout the season that we have. We are having a work day coming up actually this Saturday at 10 o'clock. If you'd like to join us at 1317 Filbert Street. That's a plug for that. They are, if they have problems with their soil, or if they have problems with bugs and stuff, that we have natural solutions that they can use for that. So basically what they grow is theirs. You don't pick from anybody else's plot, and we respect everybody's space. So that's how our little garden is run, and they're all excited, about their harvest this year.
Yes, I bet, this is definitely, I'm sure in this time that we've had of crisis, and just kind of people are just kind of happy to get out into in the world. And I'm sure that you had people that, because they couldn't be around others, kind of came and tended to their plots.
Space, right.
And so I'm hoping that some of these plots become really prolific.
So this, let me add to our reference to plots. So we have a community garden, and then we have what we call a mass production garden. So we are part of the Farm Alliance of Baltimore, and what we do is all our proceeds that we generate from our garden, our mass production garden, go back into the garden to take care of the animals and the maintenance and the upkeep of the garden. We are volunteers here, so majority of the stuff that we do here is on the backs of the volunteers that help us out. We also, in our mass production garden, we not only are a participant with the Farm Alliance of Baltimore, but we also give food to the community. So that's what we do with the mass production garden. So it's exciting, and we figure out that it is very crucial, especially last year when the food was very scarce at the grocery store, and it was like everybody should know how to do a farm to table type thing and grow their own fresh fruits and vegetables. So I'm very excited that that we can provide for the community. And we also have chickens and ducks here, which they generate eggs for the community, and we all the time giving out they're now generating at least 2 dozen of eggs per day that we give the eggs to the community. So it's free, so we just give them out to the community as needed.
The other thing I wanted to point out, which I think is so great, this is an enclosed space that it gets somewhat closed up, but you have fruit trees outside of the gate. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because that's pretty much open for anybody. Is that right?
Yes. So we just planted our fruit trees outside of the gate just this year, and did not anticipate the cicadas. But we had to net the trees, so I believe that they are going to survive. But we have planted peaches and apple trees and pear trees outside of the gate. So with the thought that even though we are not here, that the community can come up and pick a peach or an apple from the tree. So I guess within 2 years or whatever, they'll hopefully yield fruit for the neighborhood.
What has been the response for having the garden within the community? Is there any story you'd like to share, or any quotes or anything that people said that kind of either warmed your heart or just made you think wow, I had no idea we were making such an impact? Because I could see the impact being at the library, what the Filbert Street Garden did for the community. I have actually a story of someone who had a lot of anxiety. He had gotten beat up within the community and was afraid to come out of his house, and he wouldn't come out of his house. And he used to be a customer at the library and come every day. And I noticed he stopped kind of coming out. And I remember calling him, and he wouldn't come. And then one of a friend of his who worked at the Brooklyn branch, it was around the time that the goats were being born, and was able, because he is as a resident of Curtis Bay, was able to coax him out of coming out of his house just to see the goats. So what he would do is he'd come out, he'd see the goats, he goes, let's go see the goats. And they'd go see the goats, and then he'd go back home. And then he was like, I think the goats are going to be born. And so then he'd go and he'd come out. And so slowly but surely, he started kind of getting back into the community. And that's something that I personally experienced having this garden here. Is there anything you would like to share?
Oh, we have a lot of stories, but Charles D. Barber, he suffered from PSTD from the service, and
he was in the
military service, and for him, beekeeping was his hobby and passion. And when he came to me, he had 3 beehives, just 3 beehives, and I was like, Miss Rodette, can I keep my bees there at your garden? I was like, yes, Charles, I'll be happy for you to come and keep your bees there. So not only did he keep the bees at the garden, he expanded the bees at the garden. Not only did he expand the bees at the garden, but he developed a bee club. So with that being said, and it helped him with his PSTD syndrome. And he's like really thrilled that now he's up to like 23 beehives and a whole slew of beekeepers that follow his footsteps, and for him to train the beekeepers or what he know. And even we had the school, Ben Franklin, come up. Their kids came up and they photographed the bees and stuff one day. So it was like that really warmed my heart that that I could help him to deal with his symptoms and overcome them, and have a place to house his bees. So yes, and then he also capture swarms that's all over Baltimore City. That's another thing, because people, they just don't know what to do with them. And that is kind of how we got a lot of bees, because of the swarm catching that he be doing. And it brings the swarms back here to Filbert Street Garden. And it saves on, the queen bees. They cost a lot of money. A lot of times the queen bees are in that swarm. So yeah, so that's like one of the stories. And then the other story I can say is that when we was in the verge of losing the garden, or was getting ready to lose the garden, because we are adopted a lot, and I was so surprised that we had so many partners that came out to help us save the garden, and over 1,000 people had signed a petition, and everybody, a lot of people say, well, we want to help you out, but the people actually showed up, and they participated in the whole rally to save the garden. And we actually did win with the Department of Public Works. So, I mean, you don't know how much of an impact that the garden makes on people's lives until you actually are going through a journey, And I'm saying from the local folks, I'm saying the council, the people, like at Rising, who was our council person at the time, all the way to Delegate Brooke Learman, who
yes,
actually had rallied for the garden also, and actually now she's moving on to be trying to be the controller. So I'm hoping that she get that seat, But those type of political folks actually are in your corner, and they will help you if you reach out to them. So Brooke Learman, you got my vote for controller, and as we move on.
Like I said, I can't say enough about the impact and how beautiful this space is and how calming this space is. I mean, I remember also I helped out on one of the volunteer days, and there was a woman, not only indigo but marigolds for Micah. Micah was using the dye from the marigolds, and we were drying them out. And and I'm gonna tell you, I am not a farm girl by any means of imagination. I'm like suburban all the way, a little bit of town, a little bit of city. And so, but I came out for the volunteer day, and I was helping. I was, and I met a woman who was also pulling them, and we had a little bag, and we were pulling out they were telling us how to get the petals. And I said, how did you end up doing this? And she said, I literally was just walking by one day and just kind of looked and saw it, and Miss Rodette happened to be there, and I asked if I could come in, and she was like, I wasn't working at the time, and I found I found something to do with my time before I got a job. She was like, I would just kind of come here and help out. I didn't really know about, and they taught me what I needed to know. So those are some of the things. I'm sure that there are just gems of stories that the community would just kind of be able to talk about this space. I know you talked about the Farm Alliance. Can you tell me, I know there are farmers markets throughout Baltimore, and are there any farmer markets that the Filbert Garden participate in?
So actually, the Waverly Market we have participated in. So that is at 32nd and Greenmount Avenue. They're open on Saturdays from 7 to 12. All the local urban farmers who are participants of the Farm Alliance participate in the Waverly Market. So that is one of the markets we participate in. We also participate in White Lot Market. We went and we sold honey and stuff there with our farmer Kim out there. We have partnership also with Black Hill, which is in the next community over in Cherry Hill. So we are all a family that we participate in different markets and stuff. And then we was doing pop-ups with the well at on Pennington Avenue on Thursdays. We was doing that before the COVID had set in. But that's basically what we do. We are all family. We're all family. Even all the way up to the Bliss Meadows, all the way to Plantation, all the way to Strength of Love. We are all family.
I mean, the network of community gardens throughout Baltimore. One of the things of why I even wanted to do this series was to show not only the strength but the empowerment that people get from being able to grow their own food, or the beauty that they're able to create, right? So just somebody who thinks that there's nothing left, and then they can see something from seed to plant kind of grow. When you were
let me just share this. So,
okay.
My friend Joseph, oh my gosh, Joseph never ever planted anything. He's first time gardener.
Am I Joseph?
Yes, you're Joseph.
He works at Pratt.
He works at Pratt.
Joseph.
So anyway, the expression on his face when his first tomato, no, it's not tomato, it's a cucumber, and he had called me 5:30. He was at the garden, and he was like, Miss Rodette, guess what? I have tomatoes. I actually have tomatoes. And I said, Joseph, I said, take a picture of it. Please take a picture of it and show me. And he took a picture of it and he showed me, and he was so happy. His expression, so him thinking that he couldn't grow anything, and then he actually grew something, it just warmed my heart. He was so excited about it. I was so excited about it. But that is the happiness that you get when you reap what you sow in the ground. So that's awesome.
Well, I want to stop talking and show everybody this amazing space. Could we get a little tour and look at maybe the community plaza or something?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Let's see.
Went down some.
I I will follow you.
Okay, so we're going over to the community garden now. So wait to see how much more time I need. Good, good.
Yeah, everything's great. Such a great space. Be careful when you park over here. It's kind of dips. Does this allow you to open up a little more or not?
I gotta go the other way.
Okay, let's try it.
Yeah.
There we go. We can get this together.
So when we talk about community garden and pollination, and it's very important that you have native plants in your garden for pollination, especially for the bees. And I want you to see the milkweed that we have in the garden and the bee, these two bees over here that are pollinating from the milkweed and the other ones. Can you see that? Really good. That's when we talk about pollination and why you should have native plants so that the bees can pollinate on them. Ain't that great? You see that? And it's over here too. All right, so the space that we have here, this is what you call an herb garden here that one of our young ladies have, and she has mint growing. That's what mint that you can use in teas. She also has basil growing over here that you have. She has lavender growing, and it's like a whole little assortment of stuff that's growing here. But she wanted to do a herb garden, so that is that. We have another person here that has a passion for sunflowers. So he has a sunflower and he has tomatoes growing here. They call them cherry tomatoes. It's cherry tomatoes. And we have someone over here that has a passion for lettuce. So we have the lettuce growing up here that's going straight up. And then we have kale here that's growing. The kale. And we have hot peppers that's growing. And of course, those are peppers there. Oh, wow. We have cabbage growing over here in this one. We have cabbage and tomatoes. A lot of them have tomatoes. Nothing's really happening without Micah's plots. We just seeded wells in the matter here. It hasn't done anything yet. And over here is the marshmallow that we have growing.
So these are the $20 plots?
No, this is the $25 plots.
Got it.
Our young lady has a passion for sunflowers. She has a passion also for sunflowers. But we love sunflowers in our garden. There we go with the sunflowers. There's the sunflowers up there. There's really nice. Come over here. My garden right here. I have my passion is for sunflowers and zinnias. Zinnias. And actually the bees also pollinate on them also. Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
And the next one we have is sweet potato plants. Sweet potatoes are purple sweet potatoes that grow like this. These are sweet potatoes. Alright. He loves zinnias too, so he has put zinnias on his too. Alright, and my young lady, she wanted cucumbers. So we got cucumbers growing here. Cucumbers growing here. Those are the big ones, see? Mm-hmm. Those are big cucumbers. She got cucumbers and she has peppers. They're just the small ones growing here, but I'll give you a fact on peppers when I get to the next one over in the other plant. And of course, what is a community garden without corn? So this is corn here. But one thing we have for sure is lots of corn.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of corn. That's squash. It's growing. All right, you can cut off and I can show you the, what's the name? I could show you the other one on the other side. a bunch of stuff growing. Somehow you probably can put it all together once you finish it. And we're gonna go on the other side, and I'll show you the on this side. Everything is kind of growing, and this summer's growing wild. So I like the ones that ain't looking too good. And we just look at the ones that is looking good. So we have squash growing here. Yellow squash. That's yellow squash there. It's a yellow. And we also have peppers. And I'll give you a fact for the peppers. So the peppers, we have two types of peppers. We have male peppers and we have female peppers. The male peppers have 3 bumps. The female peppers have 4 bumps. And I will show you, so when you go to the store, you can tell a male pepper from a female pepper. Okay? So this happens to be a female pepper. That one has 4 bumps. That's how you can tell. Alright, and this only have 3 bumps. That is a male pepper. So that is the difference between the bell peppers. The bell peppers. We'll go over here and I'll show you another type of pepper. What's this one here? This is what you call Carmen peppers. Right here. They're Carmen peppers. They're like a bell pepper, but they are a little bit sweeter than a bell pepper. That's the important part of that. Alright, and to try this, they don't look really good. But that's it on that. We can go over to the produce now. We do have tomatoes. They have to show it out, but those, as we look to the right, the bees are doing their thing. Hunt's honey is the hives right there, and the rest of them is the garden ones. You can probably see that. And as you see, these are lots of tomatoes. We got the tomatoes going on. Alright, we'll go over on this side and we'll talk about the produce.
And maybe you could look at the jets. So
Okay.
after.
Oh, okay. We'll do produce and then we'll do that. That's the superior duck right there. I can't tell you what he is, but it's the one with the little tassel on the back of his head. Is walking around there. We'll skip over on the side all the way over. Yeah, got that. That was sage right there is what she had. This is sage. That's how we walk real fast to get to the other side. You can tell how it get real hot, don't it? Okay, on this is what we call the orchard. So in our orchard, we have pears. These are pears here. Actually, they grow in trees just like this. These are pears. You've seen pears like this. They're not ready yet, but those are what they start off as. So those are pears. And then we have different kind of pears too. These are peaches. This is what they start off like, but then they turn, red. And they still soft. And these over here is what we call Asian pears. Asian pears, they're round just like this, but they got to get a little bit bigger. They are. And then
By when will they be ripe?
Probably by the next month or so they'll be right. They're way too little now. You see the Asian pears, Miss Kay? And this is a pear tree. And these are the apples. The kids today, they wanted the apples, but they're not. These apples is not ready yet. They're little apples like they're granny apples. It's the granny apples. They're not ready yet. Granny apples are green.
Yes.
And they did not understand that, granny apples are green. They don't turn red.
Right.
All right.
So how do you know when they're ready? Because they look.
They gotta get a little bit bigger. They gotta get bigger.
Okay.
They gotta get bigger. They're not right. And then we also went all the way down to the blueberries. Actually, the blueberries here, we had a bunch of blueberries, but these are little blueberries here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we will see the goats. So these are the goats here. So the goats and the sheep, they habitat together. And these are the goats there. You have to look. Did you want to go in?
Sure.
Okay, we can go in.
Can you tell us their names?
Ah, you got me going on all these names. Everybody got names,
Oh, okay.
but I can tell you, cheese. This is the ducks coming out at you. The ducks like to come over here also. They like to stay together. Have a little pair right here.
Those two.
So this right here is Mr. Pepperjack right here. That's coming over, saying hello to you. Likes to be hugged and petted and picked up and all that other good stuff. Right? And this Bree right here.
I know there's Bree and Pepper.
Bree right here is the other little one. So they are miniature dwarf goats.
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian dwarf goats is what they call. These they are so cute. And Simon is the one that's doing the painting.
Mm-hmm. They have a
There.
fan to keep them cool.
Cool. This right here is Ed, the famous Ed. Ed was named after Ed Ratzinger, our former councilman, and he came over to see him. This is Ed. This is Simon, right here. Simon was overweight. He's not a miniature dwarf goat. He was overweight at first, but then he's back to the size that he's supposed to be. And that's Cheese in the winner. And then we have Winner. This is his winner right here. Winner was named Winner. Winner was named Winner because she was born the last day of winter. That's Winner. All of them are lovable. And all of them can be seen at Filbert Street Garden. Oops.
Someone asked why one of the goats was caged, but it looks like
Oh
they
no,
just
he's
go
not.
in
They're
there.
not caged. They definitely not caged. They just hop in and hop out, and they got hay in here. That's the reason why they hop in there for the hay. Yeah.
There I go.
So they all parrots, right? So parrots. We had one of our partners. I can just give a shout out to Transformation Center. They had a whole bunch of parrots that they would probably normally would have thrown in the trash can. And hey, Miss Rodette, would you like some carrots? Yay! I got nachos to feed. I'll bring them right over. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Ms. Rodette. I just want to thank you for this opportunity. Can you just say, just so that we can remind people, what are the hours of the Filbert Street Garden again?
Okay, so the hours of Filbert Street Garden is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Stop on by to see us. Outside we have what you can bring to feed the goats. If you don't know, check out our sign. We also have free Wi-Fi.
Yes, so, and you guys have a Facebook page.
Yes,
so
yes, we have.
And do you have a website?
FilbertStreetGarden.org.
.org.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I really appreciate this time, and I'm hoping that you guys will have the opportunity to come out here. And once again, the Pratt Free Library, we are open at 50%. You can check out books, you can sit, we have outdoor programming. So I just want to let you know, we also still have a hybrid of virtual programming. So please check prattlibrary.org. Thank you, everybody. Take care.